This is the face that shock videos are made of. Like, I think that most shock videos are like probably based on this face. I saw this and I thought, holy crap, this is creepy. But then I remembered it's a comedy. It's a British comedy, so this is funny. No, this won't scare little children at all. Look at it. I'm just gonna throw it up here a couple more seconds. Just a few more. Alright, that's enough of that. Hello there, Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection reviewer guy of all the things and then some. Just hot off the heels of friggin' Wes Anderson with another slam bang comedy. Number 158, Anthony Asquith's The Importance of Being Earnest, as written by Mr. Oscar Wilde. Oh boy, I'm coming with another slam bang comedy. Oh man. No, I mean, to be honest, this is funny. This is funny, but it's really highbrow comedy, because it's Oscar Wilde, He's an artist, honey, Let's see, 1952, 95 minutes, English, yeah, so. Alright, so I'll try to sum this up real quick, because it's kind of a confusing story. But, I guess so is Oscar Wilde's stuff. Anyway, so, it's about these two guys. One's named Jack Worthing, and Algernon Moncrief or something. Actually, I could probably look it up. Yeah, Jack and Algernon, or Algie, if you will, and they are talking, and Jack has created this character named Earnest, and whereas Algernon has an imaginary friend named Bunbury or something like that. And so they play around with this idea of imaginary friends and all that, and Jack likes to pretend to be Earnest, because I don't know, just to impress people. And he's fallen in love with this woman. What is her name? Gwendolyn Fairfax. And he pretends to be Earnest, and he proposes to her as Earnest. And then he finds out too late that the only way that she would ever propose to a man is if his name is Earnest. So there's that, and yeah. So then we see, in another scene, we see another girl whose name is Cecily Cardew, and her teacher, Miss Prism. She's learning, and she's teaching her German or something, and Cecily's writing her in a diary. And meanwhile, while all this is happening, we see Algie coming by, on the train, and he comes by and he falls in love with Cecily, who is I think Jack's sister. And so they get together, or Jack's daughter, or uncle, or something like that, or nephew. I think it's Cecily is Jack's niece, I think, because she calls him Uncle Jack. So I'm assuming she actually means uncle, and it's not like a term of endearment or anything like that. So yeah, so he comes by, and he introduces himself as Earnest, and he proposes to Cecily, and so they fall for each other. While all this is happening, Jack comes by, and he tells I think Miss Prism and the butler that his brother's dead. Meanwhile, but he doesn't know that they think Earnest is Jack's brother, and so when he says, "Oh, he's dead," but he's like, "Oh, we just saw him. We just saw him with Cecily." So he comes out, and of course Jack's upset that Algie came by as Earnest, and he's playing the Earnest part and all that. And so yeah, so all this is happening, and meanwhile, Gwen comes down and meets Cecily, and they find out that they're both engaged to a man named Earnest, not realizing that both of them, Earnest is two different people, and neither of them are actually Earnest. So they get into a fight, and then Jack and Algie come down, and they, of course, they do the whole, "What are you doing? Have you married me?" Blah blah blah. You know what I'm talking about. So they get it all squared away, and but the two women realize that, no, we're not going to marry you because you lied to us. But so anyway, I think it's Gwen's mother, Lady Brackwell, as or as her aunt or something comes down and visits with them, and she tries to, she gets the story about them and she gets it all cleared away. And then Mrs. Prism comes in and she recognizes Mrs. Prism as the ward of she was like her late sister's governess or something like that, who left a baby in a handbag at like a train station. Jack realizes that he's talking about him because he has like this handbag in a glass case, and so he breaks the glass and he shows Mrs. Prism the handbag, and he finds out that Mrs. Prism is his mother, because for all this time he's been telling people that he doesn't know his actual lineage, and so he finds out that Mrs. Prism, is his mother, and she says, "Oh, I'm not married," and like, oh well, we can overlook that and all that, and so in the last bit of it, because I guess he got his name, the Worthing is like I think it was a currency, so that's where he got the last name of Worthing, and then Jack was the name, I forget where he said he got the name Jack from, but anyway, so he and then because of that, I think Mrs. Prism, I forget how it ties in, but Mrs. Prism, I guess he finds out that he's actually Algie's brother. That Jack is actually Jack and Algernon are actually related brothers, and so with this new knowledge, he finds out his real last name. And thinking about his father, he realizes that he served in the military, and so he goes to this book, like this book of the army, records and all that, and he looks for his last name, Moncrief. And Algernon Moncrief, and so he looks for Moncrief, and he finds out that his real name is Ernest John Moncrief or something like that. And so he finds out that his name has been Ernest all this time, and yeah. So anyway, so that's and then and then he and Gwendolyn embrace, and that's the movie. It's supposed to be played, and also, it's bookended by the little, it's actually a play thing where you see two people sitting down in, like, a balcony, and a guy looks at the bill, and then you see the curtain rise, and everything's on there, so, yeah, that's okay. So, anyway, Asquith, I think this isn't I don't believe this was our first Asquith movie. I don't remember the first one, but it's not bad. I mean, Oscar Wilde stuff is kind of tricky, and it's very highbrow and very, it's very, very, very artistique. And I guess the whole joke, and I guess the controversy and joke behind this, is apparently back in the day, Earnest was slang for gay, like homosexual, which, of course, when you think of Oscar Wilde, you know why. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I laughed at quite a bit, and once you know what's going on, it's great. But a lot of that dialogue, that Victorian dialogue stuff, just goes over your head. Like I've watched a couple of Jane Austen's movie adaptations, like Emma and what was the other one? Mansfield Park. And I just, they're light, but they're also very dramatic, and I just, all the characters and, the plot just goes right over your head. So thankfully, Oscar Wilde, I think, ties it down. I mean, maybe it's because it's a play, it's, and the movie's really short, the adaptation's really short, whereas Jane Austen's things can go on for, 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours. It's just an hour and a half, basically. So, not bad. What do I give it? So, it's funny. The acting's done very well. The cinematography shot beautifully. For 1952, the color is really nice. What do we call it? All right, what do we give this one? We'll give it. I can't give it an A because it is just a little highbrow, but I'll give it a B plus. B plus. Not a bad movie. Not the greatest one, but if you haven't seen The Importance of Being Earnest, or if you haven't heard of it, because I'm sure you've heard of The Importance of Being Earnest, as I have. Check this out. This is probably the best one. I know there's a 2002 adaptation, but it's probably nowhere as good as this. So this is what you want to watch. And yeah, so and supplements, there's some production stills with little S notes by film historian Bruce Eder, some shots of the actors and director and Mr. Asquith himself, and the trailer, and yeah, that's it. So Importance of Being Earnest, B plus. Check it out at least once. All right. And, alright, that's it for today. tonight or whatever time it is. Today, Sunday, March 22nd, Redbeard, Kurosawa! I'm excited for Kurosawa. Kurosawa Ando Shadow 4D! Oh, man. This is gonna be another great Kurosawa movie. Alright, so we got that coming up. And then, Monday, Anus la Liberté. Got that. And then Tuesday, Under the Roofs of Paris. And yeah, and then I've got Ratcatcher coming. Ratcatcher, Hopscotch, and Solaris are all on their way. And I put a hold on Man Bites Dog and Down by Law today, so those will be coming too soon. Coming soon too. There you go. Anyway, so that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Don't pretend to be somebody you ain't want to be, especially if you got a friend who you think is going to steal that imaginary identity that somebody wants to be, because then you're going to get screwed up the butt with, lies and, all that stuff. And don't leave babies in handbags at train stations. Those are the two. Yeah, don't pretend to be somebody you're not, and don't leave babies in handbags at train stations. Those are the two best morals I can think of right now. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on Sunday for Redbeard. Until then, goodbye.